$5 super chat. It says, I think with the Capcom Cup first place being $1 million, people are going sweaty thinking that they have a chance, and they don't. And they don't. I hate to say it, that whole thing is a trap. It really is. There is no way that the vast majority of people will ever have a chance in competitive Street Fighter. Just the way that the system's set up, the way that there's people who've been out there doing this for a living for a long time, and they are able to thrive in that environment and that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you some perspective. Back in the day, okay, before there were teams, before there was money, all right, competitive Street Fighter was a different entity entirely, all right? And the funny part was that when you went to a tournament, you would see people who had like this crazy amount of skill, and they would have all these strategies and things, but it seemed that at least back then, almost always, the same group of people were the people who were at every tournament and won them all. And you would say, well, why? Right? And the reason was because it was people who essentially had a life or lifestyle where they could live the competitor's life. What does that mean? It means you can literally drop everything in your personal and private life to play Street Fighter. All you do is you're traveling, you're playing people from all over the country, you're constantly flying, living in hotels, living out of hotels, staying with other people, you know, bumming stays at their houses and things, playing people from all over the country, right? That was the only way that you could actually competitively hang in Street Fighter. It wasn't even necessarily about I have the best skill and execution. It was I have the lifestyle that allows me to play the most and see the most and therefore be exposed to the most so I can beat it all. And that was kind of a really interesting thing to see, because I knew people who had absolutely positively crazy amounts of like natural talent at Street Fighter, but the most they would ever do is win one tournament here or there, and they couldn't do it. They would go to like Evo and lose. And you say, well, why? Because they didn't have that opportunity like these other people to constantly be flying around and doing what they were doing. There's a few people, I'm not gonna, if I name names, the problem is people will take it as a negative. I'm not necessarily saying this is a negative. I'm just saying this is how it was. There was a few people who you knew that their parents were paying their fucking way for everything they did. They didn't have a job. They were just playing fucking Street Fighter non-stop. And they were flown everywhere. Everything was paid for. You know what I'm saying? And they were at every... How the fuck is it that there was a tournament in Connecticut, a tournament in New York, a tournament in Texas, a tournament in Chicago, a tournament in Las Vegas, a tournament in California, and a tournament in Bumblefuck, Tennessee, and the person was at every one? How the fuck did you afford that? How, you know what I mean? How were you there at every tournament winning? How the fuck, you know, it doesn't make sense. By the way, there were no sponsorships, no partnerships, nothing back then. So no one was paying their way besides their fucking parents, all right? So that was what it was like. There was a large group of people back in the day that was the deal, is that you knew if you went to a tournament, even if you were the best player there, you're not in that mindset where you've played everyone, you've seen every level of competition or whatever. You know what I mean? And I almost feel like, and to that extent, that's what it's going to be like for people trying to win like Capcom Pro Tour. If you're on a team, if you have the sponsorship, if you have the ability to go out there and play nonstop, and literally you don't need to have a job or a life, because what you're doing is playing Street Fighter. That's your existence right now. Those are the people who are gonna fucking win. Not, oh, I'm someone who's an up and comer and I'm gonna play online, I'm gonna try to learn characters and I have a chance. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Anyone who has a life, forget it. You're not winning. It's that simple. Like there's no Cinderella story to be had here of the person who just stumbled upon Street Fighter 6. It was their first fighting game, and through natural talent, it's like Rocky. Through natural talent, no one knew who they were, but they challenged the big ones and they took them down. No, that's not possible. It's just not. There's no way you can do that because it's not feasible from a logistics standpoint. You need to have funding. You need to have freedom of time to become that level of competitor. You understand? And that's what I feel is funny. You know, Dub here. So many people are sweaty, thinking they have a chance. They don't. But you're right. I think what it is a lot of people, when a new fighting game comes out, especially one like this that's like hyped up, they're going to get so into it, you know? And what it is that reality hasn't slapped them in the face yet. You know, I've been there, done that. At one point, I was like that. Seriously, at one point during my competitive Street Fighter career, I was totally like that. And I was thinking in my mindset, you know, I have a chance. I have a chance to actually win Evo. I have a chance to be the best. I never had a chance. Never in a million years did I have a chance. I played, no exaggeration, I probably played 1/10 as much Street Fighter as those who were actually tournament winners in my prime and heyday. I was barely playing. I had a full-time job, responsibilities in my private life. I didn't have time to play Street Fighter all day, every day. I couldn't do it. So because of that, I didn't have a chance. It was a miracle. The stars aligned. In reality, the fact that I placed as high as Evo as I did, and then after that, I became prominent and known as a top ST player, and because I put in, for the next 2 years, I did put in a ridiculous amount of time and effort. The 1 year, I flew to every Evo qualifier. Every region had an Evo qualifier. I spent an insane amount of money flying to every single one to get to the level of competition that I was at that point. And even then, I couldn't do well at Evo finals. I won the qualifiers, and I lost the finals, you know? It's just not feasible, man. It's not, unless you have the ability to say, I have absolutely no responsibilities in my life. I have absolutely nothing that I need to pay attention to. I can just be hyper-focused on being a competitive Street Fighter player, and I have the funding to do it. Because not, you're not rich. It's whoever's funding you to do this. Then you have a chance. If you're not one of those people, you're never winning. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how hard you try. The system's going to break you down. I was there. I tried. It didn't work for me either. I tried hard, and that's kind of why I got kind of burnt out and jaded about competitive Street Fighter. Around 2007, here I am at Evo, after having practiced all year, traveling to every qualifier, literally winning every qualifier or placing like top 3 in every qualifier that I entered. So I'm definitely one of the top Super Turbo players in 2007, all right? And I go to Evo, and the system breaks me down. I get put into a bracket where I'm playing with people who I'd already been practicing with, so they know my gameplay. It was done on purpose, by the way. It was rigged, which is fucked up, but this is probably the 10th time that happened to me. Those people out there don't like me. They never did. They always rigged the system against me because I was an outspoken guy. So here I am. I spent my entire year, all my money, all my time invested in competitive Street Fighter, and I'm at Evo 2007 just to go out to the same people who I was training with, right? It was literally a redo of B5, which I've told the story of, where I went to B5 and it was supposed to be the final Marvel vs. Capcom 1 tournament ever. So I get in this invitational tournament, and when I go there, they have me play the guy from Connecticut I flew in with, and Arturo Sanchez from New York City, who I play with every fucking week when I go to Chinatown Fair. I played no West Coast players. So what did I go for? It was the same situation at Evo 2007. So it's like, why do I care about this anymore? And it burned me out. And after that, did I cover Street Fighter 4? I did, but I became a casualized player. I didn't care about the competitive FGC. I didn't care about being good, because what's the point? If the system's going to break you down anyway, if the odds are always against you, unless you're the golden boy, or you're, you know what I mean? Like, you're the selected chosen one who's going to get all the favoritism, who's going to be able to get their way paid because they're essentially a pseudo celebrity, and you have the ability to drop everything in your fucking life to play nonstop, you're never going to win in that shit. So there's just no point. There's just no point in really fucking going crazy over it. Enjoy fighting games for what they are. Don't be a tryhard. Just play and have fun. These people today are crazy. Like I said yesterday on the show. However, we're a week and a half into Street Fighter 6, and there's people who have mastered their character already to the point where if you make one mistake, they hit you with a 60% dash cancel punish combo. That shit used to be something you would figure out within a year of a fighting game being out. They figured it out in a week. So what are we supposed to do with this game for the next 3-4 years? You already figured it out in a week. It's insane how these people play these days, Anyway, that was a lot of digression. But anyway, no. I hear what you're saying, Dub 13. You're probably right. That's why these people are sweating it so much. They think they're winning $1 million at Capcom Cup. No, they're not.